morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name's Jade, and this is the Odd Couple Rant. And today, we're going to be talking about resolutions. It's a new year, 2025, and I've got Pete Johns to help me do it. And we're going to kick off by listening to one of his songs from 2024. It's Learn. It's Ode.
On my launch pad. Don't need no coffee for my cream, no, none for me. Don't need no harshes on my headphones. Sometimes the things that happen make me wanna scream. And I know I got a lot to learn. I take my own advice, it always sets me straight. Don't want no extra information. I keep my head all in the sand, that's best for me. And I know I got a lot to learn. I'm quite okay. Don't need no harshes on that headphones. Sometimes I feel so chill, it makes me wanna scream. And I know
with that song, every time I hear it, the end, the original version had Pete go, I got a lot to learn, and he'd sing it at the end. I always go to sing it at the end, and I feel like a tool. So, welcome to the show. Hope you're all doing okay. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's Happy New Year. It's 2025. We're going to be talking about resolutions today, and I've come home after taking the day off yesterday to an absolute mess in this studio. Who was in here eating mealworms yesterday? What a day that was. And thankfully, my fish is still okay, because I saw the video back and it looks like Gladys was going to try and eat my fish yesterday. Not my fish. Anyway, keep an eye on the fish. They're going to become part of the show as time goes on. Before we bring Pete on, I have an obligation, and one that I love to do. See how my face lit up there? Wow. See, that's how excited I am. To speak about today's sponsor, of course, it is DistroKid. And my relationship with DistroKid is, as you know, it's very sensual and exciting, because I've been using them since 2016, way before they became sponsors of this show. Why? Because I was using another distributor for my songs, and I was paying an absolute arm and a leg, and it sucked every year, because guess what? As a musician, I was making no money. But at least I'm making a little bit more now because I'm saving money. DistroKid allows you to send all of your music to a plethora of wonderful streaming services like Apple and Spotify and Amazon, and the list goes on. And you've got 3 plans you can do so. You've got the musician plan, which is $22.99 billed annually, $39.99 for the Musicians Plus, where you get an extra additional band to add to that. Or you can use the Ultimate, which is what I use, where I have way too many bands, and you get 5, and you can add on to that as well. You got a whole lot of, let's stick to the basic plan. So you get an artist, you get unlimited songs, unlimited lyrics, Spotify checkmark, royalty splits with your friends. And hell, let's talk about that, because there's a whole lot of us who do collaborations here amongst this YouTube indie community. So what better way to be able to split your royalties, get somebody to sign up, split your money, everybody's happy. You can all go and pay, maybe buy a coffee after a year. Mobile app access, so, you get plenty for your money if you use my code, which is, of course, distrokid.com/VIP/Jade Starr. It's up the top there. It's in the description. You'll get 7% off your first year. And as I said, I've been using the service for a very, very long time. And there's a reason I've been using it, because I like it. And now I happen to have them as a sponsor. And it works pretty good. There's nothing worse than having a sponsor that you don't like. And I love DistroKid. You guys know it. You know it. I love you, DistroKid. That was a really aggressive one, wasn't it? Anyway, let's bring on our guest, shall we? We're going to talk about resolutions. Then we'll say hello to you all here in the chat. You know him as Pete Johns from Studio Live Today. I know him as the funny little friend that I found on YouTube. It's never going to go away, Pete. Let's bring him on, Pete Johns.
I love that you found me. It's like you were out on a search. I'm like, I need a little companion. I need a little sidekick to find. I'm going to go find a Pete Johns.
Well, I did, man. I was searching YouTube. I needed an answer to a question, and there you were, sitting in your studio telling me the answer.
Yep, back with the blue couch and the treadmill, back for the old school folks. Yeah, it's been a ride.
Happy New Year.
DistroKid. Oh, Happy New Year to you too.
Yeah.
Yes, my resolution is to release as much music with DistroKid as possible, and to share the love and joy of sharing music with DistroKid.
Yes, wow. Well, checks in the mail, Pete. Hang on a minute, don't you already? Hang on, you're already getting paid by them. Wait, off.
It's one of those sales pyramid things where I'm your uplink, and it's all just a big thing. No, we choose our sponsors wisely.
Yes.
Unlike some other folks who chose other companies to sponsor their
Honey.
videos. Honey, I'm a scam. Anyway,
It's funny, you did. So if you didn't know, folks, Pete just did a podcast on honey. And if you don't know about the controversy of honey, maybe some of you have it. We'll round it up quickly. I had honey on my computer. I'll just give a little background. That was before my hard drive died last year. And, I use affiliate links. And I don't really use Amazon a lot here in Australia, because eBay's, for me, much better. But when I did, I would always use an affiliate link, and then honey would pop up in that little corner and go, did you know there's some coupons? And I'd go and click it, and every time it would come back and go, sadly, there's none this time. And I'd go, then why did you tell me there were? And I had no idea that they were removing the affiliate link that I just clicked on, just so they could tell me they had coupons that they didn't actually have. Wow, that's a rort.
yeah, friends don't let friends use honey anymore, because if you thought you were supporting that wonderful creator that you bought a piece of kit from because they recommended it to you, they likely got nothing from that. So maybe throw a little love their way, little donation, little PayPal donation. Oh, oops.
Oh, hang on, PayPal.
Who own honey?
They own eBay as well too. Oh man, you can't escape it. We live in a world where everything's owned by 5 companies. That's just it, isn't it?
Kind of is.
What are we going to do? Hey, look, I bought a fish tank, and I'll give you a lowdown on it. So the story was, I was going to have the Gladys show, and Gladys was going to eat a goldfish as the big finale. And then Ali got in my chat going, you can't have Gladys eat a goldfish on YouTube. It's not right. If you're going to get a goldfish, at least pretend to eat it and then put it in a bowl. And then I went, all right. And now, $150 later, I've got a goldfish tank. Who knew that fish tanks, was so much money?
Well, as your resident hippie lefty veggie, I appreciate Ali. Ali was channeling me through that. So no, I'm glad that the fish lives, and now you got a pet and a nice little thing for your backdrop.
I got 2.
Perfect.
So once I fill it up with rocks today, and there's light coming and some more plants, then we'll get some more, and it'll be the Jade Starr Music Channel pet. And I'll tell you what, I do like it. It's only been here 2 days now, and every time I walk in the studio now through that door, it's the first thing I see, and it just, I don't know. There's something. It's actually been calming me already to see something alive in here and have responsibility. Yeah.
There you go. There's people in the chat here that are just like, a fish and responsibility.
Well-
Are you telling me a fish and responsibility? Brad's got 17 dogs, for goodness sake. And, people have children and elderly relatives. No, it is good. Like, you're right. Like, just having that like I get up every morning and I go and let my idiot dog in, and he's usually outside because he's stupid. I say this every morning. I go and I open the door where he sleeps in the laundry, and every morning he hears the alarm get turned off and he runs straight outside. And then every morning I go and I open the door and I'm like, you idiot. Like, every single morning, this is where I let you in. You hear the alarm and I'm here, but he still goes out and does a lap of the backyard, wondering where I am and what's going on. But again, it does. It gives you that sense of purpose. I know that, about 4 years ago, well, how long ago did you start this channel? A while ago, when you started this channel, you said it gives you that motivation to just like get up. This is why you get up. This is why you get up and do your thing, because you're doing a show. And yeah, having living creatures, whether they are people, dog, or fish, around you, does give you that motivation to get up and do stuff. Because it's not just all about you. And I think sometimes, especially us weirdos that sit in our little YouTube caves and do our thing, it gets very lonely. Even though you're talking to a bunch of virtual people, there's nothing quite like having another heartbeat. Or do fish have heartbeats? I'm sure they do. They must do. But having a living soul around you, it just does give you that next level of inspiration.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because I've started explaining, when people say to me, what do you do for work? My description now is I sit in a room every day and talk to myself. So now I don't feel so much like I am. I feel like there's someone back there, at least living, that is listening to me.
Living and sort of breathing through gills underwater, but still breathing all the same.
So it's all good. All right.
Excellent.
Hey, thank you, everybody who's joined us. We've got nearly 30 of you lovely people here. We'll say hello to you now before we get into our little chat. We want you to participate as we go on with some resolutions. We're going to talk about what were our resolutions last year, and did they come true? No, I can't get a cat, Princess LDG. And hello, when I signed the lease here, no pets, which I'm good with. So, but this pet is allowed. Like, I read the lease yesterday; it's a goldfish, allowed, and it was
Pets
either
must be flushable.
it was
So
either
that's
that
pretty
or
much
a snake, and a snake is a lot more work. I've owned many of them, so. Here we are. Let's say hello. Mateusz Breskowski is here. You've seen Baba, Princess LDG. The Leela-verse is here. She's had a brand change. We'll talk more about brand changes very soon. Michael Thompson, audio, video, Barry Glenn, Joe Glenn, Kim Hudson, I can't even say people's names today. Fisher Heartless, right? And Kim actually, well, when I went back and watched my video from last year on resolutions, Kim made one of the funniest smart-ass comments last year. I watched it back and she was like, I can't remember the exact, it was something ludicrous. I'm going to do this ludicrous thing and listen to Jade's Nonconformist album. And guess what? It never came out. Great. The Semtex Cal, Roadie's Jam Cave. Who else have I missed here? I know Ed B. Metal, Ed Z. Linsky, Mark Bro, Jenny Jolivet. Who else? Listen to me. God, am I doing well? Empirism, hello. Of course, Thomas Christ. We love Thomas Christ. He's a legend. Slinging links up the top as well. If you want to follow those, you can support the channel. OGCs. Auntie G, we love you, Auntie G. Happy New Year to you all. And I think from both of us, we hope. We're going to start with this. I think after you do your elevator pitch, every year we say we hope next year's got to be better, and you go back and watch and say, well, wasn't that a shit year? But was it a shit year? Like, this is the thing. Okay, I think I've got most. Michael Songs, g'day. If I've missed your name, I'll try and catch up as we go through. But we'll get into it because we need to find out who this guy is with me. I do this for every one of these, even though most of you will know him. But who knows? It's a lot of new subscribers. And I need to say thank you to all the new subscribers. I think I hit 4,600 today. We are getting almost to 5,000. Wow. Wow. It's only taken forever. But hey, I'm as long as it's moving, we're all good. And you were mentioning on your show, Pete, that with this honey thing, with revenue dropping, I had a big change this year on my channel, and the channel took a massive hit. But sometimes you make a big change, and you look at the long term, and now all that long term stuff is starting to pay off because everything's rising again. It's the best it's been for. Anyway, we'll get into that. Who the hell are you? I'm in an elevator. I'm the CEO of Studio Live today, and you're a grunt, and you're on your sandwich break, and I find you, and you've got a minute to tell me just who the fuck you are, Pete. Go.
What is it that I do around here? What is it that you do around here? So my name is Pete Johns, and I call myself a music educator these days because it sounds a bit fancier. What I do is on the internet, I create tutorials, I do live streams, I do a weekly podcast, and my goal is to help as many folks as possible create, record, and release their best music. Those are my three pillars that I've been working on for the last nearly 10 years now, nearly a decade I've been doing this. So I do that by helping people discover what they need to create, both from a technical and a skill and also a mindset point of view, and then how to actually record that. So how do you actually hit the record button and play in your guitar or sing your bits or do your synth parts? And then how do you release it? And when I talk about releasing, I mean sharing, because I'm of the belief that art only becomes art really when you share it with someone else. It means that you get to share your love, share your joy, but it also helps you improve because sharing your music, you can get feedback from others that helps you make better music. So that is what I do around here, and I do it here on the internet. I do it in YouTube videos, I do it in podcast form, and I try to just help as many people as I physically can.
Wow. So why are they paying me 100 million grand a year to be CEO? Pete, you've got the job. Well done. You can go back to your cubicle now, and I'll never hear from you again. Thank you.
And I do like the question too, because it's like, yeah, I am the everything. So I'm very much a one-man show. That's deliberate. So people say, oh, when Studio Live today starts growing more, you should scale, you should get a video editor, and then you can hire a web developer, and then you can hire a social media person. And I'm like, I got out of the corporate world because I didn't like having to manage teams of people anymore. I wanted to do what I wanted to do without the bureaucracy and the red tape and all the committees and all the meetings and all that. So yeah, I have virtually zero desire. Maybe one day, if when we're 1 million subscribers in, I might need a person or two to help me out on the weekends. But no, for now, I just like doing what I like doing. And as you'll know, Jay, one of the best things about this is you can move. Things change, and you can go with the flow. You can change with the times. And when I first started out, it was all short form to medium form tutorial content. Live streaming wasn't really a thing, and I couldn't even technically do it because of our terrible internet, and I was on DSL at the time.
Yeah,
and
remember
it
those
just wasn't
days.
ever going to work to have that upload speed. But then that changed with the NBN, which is far from perfect, but at least works this well. So I'm now able to do live streams, and I kind of went from just the front end, and as soon as I came up with that create, record, release, I'm like, there's got to be something on the other end where we celebrate the music, where we actually talk about the music that people are creating and share it with other people. So now we've got the Your Music Live show brought to you by our wonderful friends at DistroKid that I do every week, which has been going for 4 years now, which is kind of ridiculous. So yeah, it is super cool being your own boss. It's also challenging in many ways, which I'm sure we'll talk about as we go through with our resolutions and our goals.
Yes, indeed. Hello, Russ and Brad and Hugh. And if I've missed, I'm sure I've missed people. What was I going to say? The reason I do the elevator pitch, I'm trying to get Brad into the habit of actually introducing his guests on the weekend. He has these guests on and goes, "Hi, everybody, welcome to the show. I've got here's Simon, and we're going to play some songs." It's like, dude, you don't even have his links in the description. Like, you got to be a good host, man. Your guest is spending time on your show. You got to fill the description with their links, and you got to tell people who they are, and you got to send them to their channel. You got to do all these things. Brad, are you listening to me? I hope so. And it's important. These little things I think are very important when doing a channel. You've got to be the gracious host. You wouldn't invite somebody to your house for dinner and then just go, all right, well, it's all ready to go in the oven. Off you go. Put it in. You can cook it, cunt.
It's one of the hardest things because I mentioned it before that you're sitting here in your own little world, and it can be difficult to remember to do the service side of it. And it's
Yes.
not like a self-centered or a selfish thing or like I don't care about other people. Brad genuinely does, and as do we. But sometimes it can be so hard and you're juggling so many balls at once that just getting the stuff done, just working out the technology. And that's why, again, I think practice makes progress is my favorite saying and has been for years, because the more you do these things, like you and I, when we first did these, we'd dial into each other's streams half an hour beforehand. We'd be checking sound levels. We'd be checking backgrounds and cameras. Today, I started this at 7:30. I came in at 7:23 with my coffee. I'm like, oh, hang on, Jade, I'll just change my background and zoom out a bit. And you're like, yep, okay, all right, ready to go? Yep, do it.
Done.
And you don't get that overnight, but you get that through practice. And it's not that we're perfect now, because stuff happens and shit happens and things will go wrong. But yeah, the more you do it, the better you get at it. And that's why Brad needs a Jade. So for the exact reason that I said about releasing your music, you need feedback from other people, because we all have blind spots. I have blind spots, you have blind spots. We all have blind spots of things that we do or don't do that we don't realize. And if we've got good, caring friends and colleagues in our lives, they will tell us those things that we do and don't do that can maybe improve on what we do. And if you're blind to that, and if you don't open up to feedback from others, you're never going to improve. You're not going to get better.
Yeah, and like hanging on Brad here, and I'm sure he won't mind, but I think you got to know too when you help somebody when to stop helping. Like this has been a thing. Like before each show, Brad will message me and say, I've got the messenger chat open. Just let me know if the volume's right and just if there's any problems. And then one of the shows he did, it was a few weeks ago, I just didn't respond because you got to let birds fly and make their mistakes themselves and work that out. And what do you know? Everything was fine. That's it. Because you can become too reliant on that as well, too, of constantly going, oh, can you make sure that it's like, no, you're doing it, man. You've been doing it for a year now. And it's not being mean. It's just like let people fly.
No, well, it was great when I was chatting to you and Brad and Russ the other day, and Brad was saying, "Oh, I've got this guy that's trying to set up an audio interface, and I've got to help him get it connected and get recording." And I'm like, "Yes, we finally got to the point where it's being and where it's pay it forward, and that's exactly what you want." And one of the criticisms I get from folks is they're like, "Oh, you go over the same stuff over and over again." That's because different people are coming in, and there's people that have left. I 100% accept and appreciate that there's some people that came in, got everything they needed out of my channel and out of this community, and they've moved past it. And it's a bit like in the corporate world again, is if you can't accept that some people will come, move past what you can provide with them, and then move on, well, guess what? You're not going to be the CEO. You're not going to be the boss of everyone and the head of a company. Otherwise, you have that Elon Musk syndrome where you just think that, no, I'm the best and everyone else must be pushed down. Whereas, no, if people actually come in, it's actually a credit to me. If someone's came in, they bought their Scarlett 2i2, they used GarageBand, they started creating music, and then they've moved on and I've taught them everything I can and they're better than me now, win. That's what coaching is all about. That's what helping develop and mentor and coach people is all about. If no one ever got better than me, I'm a pretty shit coach, aren't I?
Yeah, that's true. Look at Princess, who just left. See, Princess, she's one of those people. I remember when she came into your channel and then into mine as well. 1,000,001 questions. And a lot of people sometimes get upset about that and be like, oh, God, this person, they're constantly asking questions. It's like, no, because eventually they're going to stop if you answer them. The questions will continue to come if you don't answer them. You're the one putting yourself out there as a teacher. You have to answer those questions. And you know what? The other thing is too, we don't have all the answers.
No.
So,
yeah. And from a practical point of view, for me and for you probably too, if you get questions on especially older videos or questions from people, and I send them a link. So if you've ever asked me a question, my answer is always a link to a video. So I'll always send you a link to a relevant video. And what I'm finding is that a lot of the videos I'm sending people to are 4 and 5 years old, and they're still fine. but they need updating. So I'm like, this is actually the best market research that I could possibly do, because it's telling me that, hey, that video about the difference between XLR and TRS cables that you did 5 years ago when, it was all blue couches and treadmills and really long intros, you could do a 5-minute version of that would actually crush now because it needs updating, and you're better now than you were then. So yeah, I think people are scared of repeating themselves, but the opposite of repeating yourself is making shit up, is changing your view on things all the time. And I think you have to change your perspective and you have to move with the times. But I think the best people that I know within the online community or the real world are people who have consistent morals, ethics, and values, and then adapt those to the changing environment and situations around them.
Yeah, totally. One of the things, problems I have with a lot of older videos, I get questions on older videos, but they're apps, and apps evolve over time.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing is, I don't make the apps. So a lot of my answers, unfortunately, aren't what people want to hear. They are, you'll have to speak to the developer about that. Here's their email. But the problem is with a lot of apps, something goes wrong with an app and they go straight to the app store and then write a review, and that review stays forever. And it's something that could have been fixed with an update. And, you've got to let the developer know, I can't fix it. That's beyond my realm. But it's a strange thing that people don't realize. There's a problem. I'll just email Jade about it. I'm like,
it is very
I've got
weird.
no idea.
As you know, I have one of my most popular, in fact, my most popular video on YouTube is how to dig crud out of your headphone jack and lightning ports and USB ports with a toothpick, because that's what a lot of people have problems with. They're like,
Yes.
my headphones aren't working, my phone's not charging, and they find that. And the amount of people in the comments that go, I tried that and it didn't work, what do I do now? I'm like, what do you mean, what do I do now? Like, this is just one suggestion, and I'm pretty clear in it that I'm like, hey, this is a thing. If your port's dirty, if it's not that, guess what? It's something else, and you need to talk to a professional. So it is very weird that people just want instant solution answer right now. Tell me things, and I'm like, nope, that is one thing that you can do that might work, and if it doesn't, you probably broke it. You probably dropped it in the toilet and just don't want to tell anyone, and that's why it's not working.
Instant gratification land. That's what we are living in, unfortunately. And,
Yep,
I suffer from it. Yesterday I was looking for plants for my little goldfish tank there, and I'm like, wow, they look really good. Oh, they're going to take a week to deliver. Maybe I'll get these ones. They'll be here in 2 days.
Yep.
Because I want it now, man. I want it now.
Oh, yeah, and exactly. We all want it now. And unfortunately, one of my pet peeves is laziness. And I know that I can be lazy too. Like, I'm deliberately lazy. Like today, as soon as this show's over, I'll probably sit on my ass and watch cricket for 2 hours. But that's planned laziness. Laziness around people that want an answer, but they don't want to do any of the work. And I know you've had the same situation as I have. As someone that creates a lot of content about GarageBand, I make sure that in the title of every video that's about GarageBand is the word GarageBand. Yet the number of people that comment on my videos saying, what app this? Yo, brah, what app this? And I'm like, did you not watch the first 30 seconds or, I don't know, read the second word in the title? It's absolutely baffling that people are clearly not engaging. And I'm like, how do you get through life? How do you have adult conversations? And I'm like, maybe they're children, so maybe they're not having adult. Maybe they've got squishy little child brains.
Not from Australia.
Yeah.
Tremor Bear, hello. Capsulam, hello. And the other thing too with watching videos, you would get this as well. For apps, I know for me, I try and break it down. The start of the video is like, hello, this is what the app is. This is how much it is and where you can get it. And here's a demo of it, what it sounds like. And now let's break it down on how to use it. And I get a lot of comments of people saying, but does it do this? And it's like, you commented on this at the 3-minute mark of the video. Yeah. Your answer is in the fucking video. You just need to keep watching for another 5 minutes. I know. It's hard to deal with that, but we're all time poor. But yeah, I don't have the time to sit there and give you the answer that is in the section that you just stop the video.
And it is hard because I've kind of thought to myself, you know what, customers always right, all that kind of customer service stuff. Maybe I need to actually be quicker. Maybe I need to make shorter videos. And yeah, look, I did that, and I've had successful short videos that are under a minute. but commercially, I can't afford to.
You can't make
because
money
the
from them.
platforms don't pay you for them.
Yeah.
So, just in case folks don't know, the ratio is around about 10-1 on most videos in terms of how much you actually get paid.
8-minute
because-
video, you need too.
Yeah, 8-minute video to get at least one ad in the middle of, so that you can actually make some revenue. And that's why you see so many 8-minute and 1 second videos out there, because people just pad them to make them 8 minutes, and that's a YouTube thing there. But if you don't know, that shorts don't serve up as many ads as long form videos. Weirdly, even if I make a 1 minute horizontal video, 1 minute and 1 second horizontal video, and I make the same video as a vertical video for 59 seconds as a short, that horizontal video getting the same number of views will earn about 10 times as much in ad revenue. And it's not all about making money, but this is my job, so I do have to actually keep the lights on. So for me, it's almost like I'm disincentived to do things that are the best thing for the end user. So if I did want to do a video that explains a concept quickly in 1 minute, that's just one thing, it can get 500,000 views, but it's going to get the same as something that gets 50,000 views that's a longer form content, and I can add more ads. Anyway, it's a hard thing when the platform itself is incentivizing you to do the wrong thing by the end user.
And ads, speaking of ads, and I know you're similar, like most of you will know, here on the show, I run an ad halfway through the show, in the live stream, and then when that video processes, I go back into the processed video 12 hours later and manually put that ad in for people watching on the replay. And then I open it up, and there's 38 ads they've put in. And I'm like, why are you putting 38 ads in my video? And you have to go and delete them all and then put that one ad in. And, we could leave that and be total, absolute but, and I know there's lots of videos. Whenever I see a video that has, sometimes you can see them. They've got little things along the bottom, and there's like 100 ads in a hour-long video. You're like, what is going on here? But there's that, what was I going to say? There's something else I was going to say, and I've lost my train of thought.
Yeah. Less ads, we good. Other people bad.
Less ads, yeah. All right, let's get down to what we're meant to talk about, and that is resolutions. In your opinion, and what is your definition, Pete, of a New Year's resolution?
Well, it depends how stereotype you want to be about this stuff. And if you want to be like, I will lose 10 kilograms this year, or I will release 10 songs this year. Like many of us, especially those that have been through, again, the corporate world where they like to quantify things. If it's not, remember, it's measurable is successful. And if you can't measure it, you can't be successful. So I think in the past, I have gone down that track that I'm like, right, I need SMART goals. I need them to be specific and measurable and actionable and realistic and time bound. And I still think to a certain extent that's true. But I've actually switched modes. In the last 2 years, I've switched to rewarding myself and I guess measuring myself on effort over outcome. So I'm measuring myself on the things that I can control as opposed to the things outside of my control. So the example being that I now kind of just give myself overall philosophies to live by. And the whole create, record, release thing was kind of the first around that I went. When I started the channel, I did two things. I wanted to average one video per day. So at the end of the year, have I made 365 videos? Yes, tick. And I wanted to make sure that every video I made actually met the criteria of being related to helping folks create, record, and release music. And that was it. And keeping it simple, I think, was much more effective than giving myself a whole bunch of little micro measurable things that I got confused about. And I think if you have to go back to a written list to work out and to remember what your resolutions are, I don't know that you're going to be able to achieve them. And then it's kind of been proven that the human brain can only really hold about 3 to 5 thoughts or things in its head at any given time. So if you've just written out your 12 New Year's resolutions for 2025, you might need to do some prioritizing and maybe work out what are your top 3. Go with that.
Yeah, I am of a similar frame. I don't call them resolution. I call them plans. It's a lot less frightening, and I think most people know we both come from corporate worlds, and I always, with everything that I do here on this channel anyway, and a lot of things in life, it's like this. I learned this at American Express. Features. So to me, plans are going to be features. That's what features am I going to try to achieve? What things? And features aren't features unless they have benefits. And a lot of companies forget about this. A lot of, they offer these things and go, Samsung do this a lot. They go, look at this great feature. And then you look at it and go, wow, that's really before its time. In fact, it's so far before its time. Is there actually a benefit of using that? Things have to have a cause and effect. So for me, each year I try and make plans that have some kind of outcome that lead to something. And you have to play the long game, I think, with resolutions. I did this last year on my resolutions rant video. I made the same example as you, Pete. I'm 400 pounds and it's Boxing Day and I'm at McDonald's at the drive-thru. I've got 2 bags of food and I'm like saying to my friend on a speakerphone, I'm going to lose 300 kilos this year. Sorry, honey, that is not happening. Like, I'm just going to have these last 2 bags. No. If you can't even say no to those last 2 bags, it's not going to work. It's outrageous to try and overstep. Keep it short, simple. KISS. Simple, stupid. That is the way to go, and you should be okay. But looking back at what I said last year, I was going to do. I was scared. I was like, oh, did I achieve these things? Did I actually do them? Some of them I did by this much. So it's a pass. Did you set yourself goals last year and did you publicly announce them here on YouTube in front of all of us?
I did not. So I did one thing publicly here on YouTube because it wasn't a deliberate choice at the time, but for those that are Patreon members of mine, you will know that we did a keep, stop, start list, which I have in front of me here. So I did have a fairly extensive and expansive list of things I wanted to keep doing, a few things I wanted to stop doing, and a bunch of stuff I wanted to start doing. And my success rate's been pretty good. We can go through them if you want to hear the details. We can go through that. But yeah, I had one overall thing that I was public about, and that was that every year I kind of try to have a mantra that I live by. The create, record, release stuff. Last year, 2024, was you do you, boo, which means that I wanted to get less involved in other people's adult decisions. If they weren't going to affect me and they weren't going to affect other people in a negative way, I was going with you do you, boo. And tell you what, it actually worked really well. I went through some challenges like with my wife's health and with some other things, and just not having that additional external drama and conflict actually really helped me out. So that was last year. I'll tell you my next year later. We'll leave that as a tease for later on. But just to give you a quick rundown of my keep, stop, start. So in terms of starting, I had a long laundry list here. So I wanted to start streaming on Instagram. I still don't do that, so that's going to roll over to next year. Look at other streaming platforms. Yes, I started moving over to Ecamm Live for some of my streams, and that's at work in progress. Updating my merch didn't happen. In fact, I've removed some of my merch, so I need to refocus on that again. Updating all my metadata for my DistroKid songs, our wonderful sponsor. Didn't get to that because I still have a bunch of lyrics and writing credits and collaborators I need to update on that. Set up Bandcamp. Yay. Thank you, Thomas Christ. I did a live stream with Thomas Christ and we set up my Bandcamp live on the show. Set up YouTube memberships. Yay. Thank you, Jade, Starr, and Thomas Christ. We did that this year. Set up a weekly schedule of live shows. Yay. I now have 4 live shows I do every week and they are consistent and they're at a consistent time. The podcast being the exception, that moves a little bit on the Fridays or the Thursday nights. I had an idea for a podcast, a second podcast, which didn't come about, a sponsor for GarageBand Weekly. If anyone out there would like to sponsor GarageBand Weekly, we still don't have a sponsor for GarageBand Weekly, but I tried. So that was an attempted one. Renaming GarageBand Weekly still hasn't happened, but probably needs to happen in 25. Adding a new show. I was thinking of doing a daily digest show. I did the analysis of that and worked out that it wasn't really going to work. It was going to take up more time than it would possibly have benefit. So I shelved it. Make some fucking music, which is actually written as make some fucking music, which I did, not as much as I wanted to. Yeah. I did my Songtember song, I did my NFT Christmas song, and one other song of which I can't remember what it was. So 3 songs for the year, not great, but passing great.
Better than me.
D minus.
Better than me.
I want to simplify my gear, get rid of what I don't need, which I did. I offloaded a bunch of stuff, mostly donated it to folks who needed it this year, and contact more companies to work with, which I haven't done enough of. So a bit more networking, but again, I kind of got distracted early in the year in 2024. Like, yeah, you can make excuses, but yeah, I didn't do as much of that as I needed to. The other stuff's really quick, which is the stop. So stop worrying about stuff I can't control, which was part of that whole you do you boo, and stop learning new songs and practicing too much for the happy hour. So if you don't know, I do a weekly show called The Happy Hour where I learn a bunch of songs. And for a while there, I was getting super obsessed about having these really obscure themes and topics that I would focus on. And I was spending 10 hours a week learning a bunch of new songs for a single 1 hour show that was just supposed to be a bit of fun and escapism. So I had to have a long, hard talk to myself and say, stop doing that. So I did do that as well. And what I'm going to keep is pretty easy. Patreon, Your Music Live, Happy Hour but less stress, GarageBand Weekly, and answering all comments. So that's the one thing that I keep doing, that I've been doing since day dot on this channel, is that if you have ever commented on any Studio Live Today video ever, you would have received at least that first reply. I can't guarantee I go in and have a long threaded conversation, but I always respond to that first comment. So yeah, I guess for someone that said I wasn't very detailed in it, I have been quite detailed in my it weren't really resolutions. I think that's what tripped me up, is that it wasn't resolutions, but like you said, it was a plan. But I'd like to hear about your plan and how you went, Jade.
I got to give you some applause for doing it, because it's tough. Well, I did put it out there in public, and I had to go back and watch, and I was like, ooh, wow. So, of course, let's talk about the failures first. And, of course, it is the running joke that is my Dread Circus album that, to be honest, I hardly even worked on. I think I did a few shows on it, and not making excuses for it, but it's so weird that, I don't know, just not, if you don't feel it, you can't do it. And at the time, I was in like most of you know, I was in a house. For 7 years, I was in the house I was in, and there was a lot of drama in that house off camera. I had a neighbor that was like coming downstairs at my window and yelling obscenities all through the night, banging on it's just crazy stuff. I had a whole lot of drama go on in my house, and I really had been wanting to move out of that house for a long time. The studio for a long time never felt like a real studio. It just felt like a room. And one of those goals was to actually make a studio, to have like a background, to feel like a real YouTuber and not a green screen behind me. And so that was achieved, at least, right? Yeah. Look, the green screen worked beautifully for the longest time.
There you go. I'm knocking on a real wall.
I think the fear was, for me, for not having an actual studio, was that I didn't want to be in that house. And you take all that time to actually build it up and be something, and then you go... Murphy's Law. As soon as you bite the bullet, and guess what happened? I did. I bit the bullet. I remodeled the studio. I had a background starting up. I had lights and everything. And a month later, they kicked me out. So it happened. And did I will that into action? Maybe. I don't know. Who knows? But so the Dread Circus album, the thing about it is that it's still there. And after all this time, it hasn't aged. Right, it's still going to be relevant when it comes out. So that's the one good thing I have. Now I'm starting on music first for my resolutions. And one of them was to do collaborations, to actually do a collaboration, because I never do. And I did that. I did 2 collaborations with Mateusz Prokowski. And so thank you, Mateusz, because without Mateusz, it wouldn't have happened. It came apart about, here we go, my goal of 20... So again, Kim has come in here and she's done what she's done last year. My goal for 2025 is to repurpose my grandma's 1940s stereo into a record cabinet so I can listen to. This is the exact same resolution she put up in my show last year. So there we go. Maybe this year it will happen. So, but luckily Mateusz came along on Patreon and sent through some songs, and I just happened to scream over the top of them during the live stream, and it ended up we now have a thing, and we have planned more songs for 2025. So that's very exciting. I want to do more and more collaborations with people. I do have a bunch here on my iPad that I want to get finished. 2 with Laurie Mishmosh that seriously got to get done. So that's going to continue this year. Unfortunately, I didn't put out a lot of my own music this year. I think I put out 1 song, and that was FMC, and I didn't even sing on it. Basically, it was all your pets that sung on it, which is so... what the hell? So there's that. But I did start during Songtember another song with Viv Sparrow. And unfortunately, she had to go away, so we couldn't finish that for Songtember. But it's turned out even better because now we're working on that for the charity album that's been announced. For Russ's charity album, he's announced 2 of them. So we have a song to aim for April. So that's fantastic. Continuing on with music, I started a Dread Circus demo EP. I took my 1995 demo and have been reworking it. It's almost finished. So I'm going into 2025 with a Dread Circus album, my demo album, which has 9 songs, and a whole Metheist EP of 6 songs that is pretty much almost finished as well. So there's going to be a lot of music from me this year. So did I set my goal? I set the basic brief. I released a song and 2 collaborations. So yes, and I've actually set up for this year so a lot of songs. So that's very exciting. The other thing was I said that I was going to get back playing live again outside this in the real world. And it didn't happen the way I wanted it to happen, but it has been happening behind the scenes for a while now. So for those of you who don't know, this year I joined a band, and it's a very interesting band. It's like nothing I've ever been a part of, and I'm looking at this like this is the last band I'm ever going to perform in, physically be a part of. And it's very full on. A lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes. It's controlled by many computers. The drummer's not actually a human. It's a gigantic hydraulic spider. There's costumes, laser shows. It's insane. If you want to see a bit of it, let's show you. This is kind of some of the costumes of the band. We're called Phantom Panda Power Wizard Master Smasher. And I've been learning all the songs and learning the set and learning all this stuff. We start rehearsals this week coming, so very exciting. And I think our first gigs start in March, and we have gigs all the way through the year, opening festivals, closing festivals. So in a way, yes, I set that up, ready to go, and it's going to happen. It's all going to be documented, and because this year I want to try and encourage some people to get out and play live, busk, go to an open mic. Not everything is YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very, like, it feels like a large pool here, but when you really do the number crunching, there's probably only 1,000 of us, if that bounce between all these channels. And I think it's a really good idea to get out and push yourself to do something interesting. I know you, Pete.
Yes. Yes, I'm just looking away because I'm not going to.
We want to see you go busking in 2025.
Yeah,
Do you think it's going to happen?
I think so. I need to find a safe place. To be honest, and look, I'm happy to own this. It scares me. The general public are scary, and you might think, but you do it on the internet. Isn't the internet worse? And it's like, no, the internet. I can handle the keyboard warrior trolls. They don't scare me at all. But yeah, real people in real life can be intimidating. So yeah, I will get there. I'm pretty sure I'll get there, but I might go a different route. I think the open mic route might be a little bit more supportive for me. So I might have to hit up my friend Samantha Edge and get her to help me with some of this stuff, because she's amazing. She just has no fear. She just goes out there and does her thing. So yeah, I think I need to do it. And I have no excuses. I have all the gear now to go out and do it. So I just got to get off my ass and do it.
I'm certainly not putting pressure on you. I just think it would be a great series to see it happen, and you know, there's content there to see the first time busking, and you wouldn't even need to have to go live, would you? You could do that later on and start off with some pre-recorded stuff and all that. I think it's just a great new kind of thing that you can do in your own time. Anyway, I'd be so interested in seeing that because I love busking. You know, I think it's great.
And it would, I think it would help others too, because I think that one of the benefits I get is people that see me doing this and go, if that guy can do that, then I can do something like that too. So I think other people that are feeling, and I think if I'll be very honest about what I fear and what I am worried about happening as I do it. So yeah, I think if I'm honest and open and vulnerable and show that, it could actually work well, because I think there's a lot of people that want to do a lot of things. They're just scared to take the plunge and take that first step.
The last thing I wanted to cover of things I said I was going to do, I didn't say it exactly in these words, but I did, was diversify the channel to be more than How to App on iOS. And as you can see, I did a name change, which was very scary. Even though it was just Jade Starr and most people knew it as How to App on iOS, I found... And let's talk about this because I want to get your opinion. I think I've been talking to Leela because she just changed the name of her channel, and anybody else who's starting a YouTube channel. The most important thing I can tell, my advice is, if you are starting a channel, you need a solid anchor, something that you're going to be able to hang your hat on every day, but you don't have to follow the rules and it always has to be that thing. You can diversify from that, but that you need an anchor, you need a thing, and it can be niche, as so niche and weird as possible, or it can be very mainstream. It doesn't really matter as long as there's an anchor that you can always come back to, and apps were that for me, How to App on iOS. But I found people were confused and going, there's an interview, when I would have guests on, I reach out to them and they'd go, what, you want me to come on a show called How to App on iOS? I don't make music on iOS. Yeah. And I was like, all right, how are we going to fix that? So now you'll see up the top in the corner there, it says The Rant. And each show has its own name now. The Rant, The Interview, The Opening Hour. They all have their own names. Patreon Live. But it was a scary thing to do because people don't like change. And the channel took a big hit for it. It really did. And I wanted to move to doing pre-recorded videos of apps because of, again... I have very different audiences. I have people who just come here for apps and people who just come here for interviews and people who just come here. So you've got to kind of cater to all those people, and the live streams all the time for apps. And even like, again, last year, many of you will know I used to play someone's song at the start of the show each day, and then I moved it to the end because people complained about the song, and then they complained that it was at the end, and then I ditched the song altogether. And now I feel I still want to play people's music, but there's plenty of channels that do that. So, let me say, it was harder this year when I had to do my top 20 songs because I didn't have my finger wasn't as much on the pulse from playing people's music each day. So that was tough. Thankfully, the like button stores all of your liked videos in one folder, and I can find them. So diversifying the channel was tough, but again, what I just want to lastly say, the long game. You have to be able to think about the long game and have faith in your changes and really think about them and take the hit and know that things will get better. And here we are at the beginning of 2025. And it's paid off because things are starting to move much more than in a better direction than what they were. They would have stayed stagnant. But, you know, it was a 4-month hit of, oh, man, was this the right thing to do?
Look, I've come and gone on this particular topic many times because when I first started doing what I was doing, I did consider because I was doing mostly GarageBand, and I could have called myself that GarageBand guy or something completely flagrantly ripping off a mate Patrick, but I wouldn't do that. No one in the entire community would do that. But I decided, no, I would go with something generic to start with, even though everyone said, oh, no, you need to be niche. And look, it's worked out for me. Weirdly enough, the channel name was just my name. name. I didn't really understand how YouTube worked. So the logo was always Studio Live Today, and I was just called Pete Johns. And that was way confusing. And I was nervous even just calling it Pete Johns Studio Live Today and changing to that, because I thought, oh no, I'm going to lose something. I don't know. We're all scared of the YouTube algorithm. It's going, the algorithm's going to punish me and I'm going to be... No, it was fine. I think you're right. Having the anchor is key, and and that's why I think it's more important to have your values, ethics, morals, and what you actually stand for. What are you actually trying to do? And I think the biggest, I see a lot of people that start YouTube and they're like, I'm just going to have a variety channel. I'm just going to have a clips channel. I'm just going to have a channel where I just get on there and do whatever I feel at the time. And look, that's fine if you're doing it for you, but the level of success that you're going to get from that, because everyone else is doing that and a lot of other people can do that. Why am I watching you? What are you offering? And it could just be your personality. Like you could be, I'm the person who does live streams and I'm always wearing a clown suit. I don't know. You can have a gimmick. You can have a
I'd
theme.
pay to see that.
Exactly. If it was me in a clown suit, you'd pay to see that. Or I do live streams, but in sales and marketing, we call it a POD, a point of differentiation. So what is your point? And I think everyone has one. A lot of people think, oh, I'm not interesting enough. If I did a live stream, I'd just get on there and it'd be so boring. And it's like, no, I don't think so, because I think everyone has their own unique point of differentiation. And for me, it's that I play the straight man, but underneath the surface, if I can toot my own horn, I've got quite a quick, dry wit and sense of humor. So I attract people that are similar to that don't like the crazy out there antics. I'm obviously not in your face like that, but I'll just be like straight, and then I'll just say something left field that I think appeals to a certain subset of people. So bringing that in, and Patrick's very similar. So I've stolen the best bits from various different people over time, because what I loved about Patrick and his tutorials is he was ultra serious. Like, in this GarageBand tutorial, we're going to teach you how to do this, and then it's just like a picture of him in a kilt, and he's like, and here, like at my wedding, I was doing it, and it's like, yeah. So you just want to open yourself up and give people a little bit of the real you. But yeah, back to your branding stuff. I think that it's totally fine to do that. What I've seen people do that I don't agree with is, from a musician point of view, is just consistently. There are bands and artists, and I've been trying to follow the bouncing ball, but they're like, I'm Broadzilla now. And it's like, I used to be Broadzilla, but now I'm Robin and the Sparkles. And I know now I've actually changed my name to, and it's like, oh my God, I cannot follow you. I don't know who you are anymore.
Yeah.
So people will come into the chat and be, do you remember me, Pete? I used to be blah. And they mean last week. Like, not as they used to be it months ago or years ago, that they've just changed their name. So I think change for change's sake is not right. But if you have a plan around it and you're doing it for a very clear, deliberate reason, then yeah, I think it can work, as long as, like you say, you have that anchor, you have that the consistency needs to be in you and your values, and then you can kind of do whatever you want on top of that.
Yeah, and I say this often, I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for you. I watched you and was able to sit there as a moderator and do everything that Thomas does back then. And thankfully now Thomas has taken that spot for me, and I get to kick back a bit more, and because I've got more to worry about. Now it just is what it is. But when I started, I remember you giving me some advice. Probably want to pull back on the swearing a little bit, and I have. But I still swear. And there's something about, you've got to hold on to some part of you. Yeah. And that's what makes me different to you. Like, you're not going to do that. And I'm going to be that. So are we still giving this exact same amount of honesty? Absolutely. I'm just a little bit more passionate. And, that's not going to work for everybody. And if you're happy with that, which I am, and most of the people who do say, oh, I'm a bit touchy with that, we probably wouldn't get along in real life anyway. See you later.
That's the thing. Again, without getting sort of too deep into the inside baseball in the weed stuff, you have to accept that some people aren't going to like you and
Yes.
aren't going to want to watch your videos.
Yes.
And that's absolutely fine, because if you are trying to go for such universal appeal that you appeal to everyone, well, look at what's appealing about the news. Look at what's appealing about commercial TV. Look at what's appealing about commercial music. Do you want to be that? Do you want to do things just for the people that want to see a thing, the most popular thing? Or do you want to actually be true to yourself and deliver on what you get? So yeah, when I gave you that advice, I think I said it in exactly these words. If you completely stop swearing, you would probably increase your overall viewership by like 20%. But how long can you maintain that? So if you find a nice happy medium where YouTube don't demonetize and give you your little yellow question marks next to all your videos, but you're still appealing to the sort of people that just want someone to be a little bit out there and a little bit wacky and off the wall, then I think you can find a perfect balance. And I think you have. So yeah, it's just about looking at the risk return sort of value of it, that people are like, oh no, freedom of speech, I just got to get out there and tell it like it is. I call a spade a fucking spanner. Yeah, fair enough. But guess what? Advertisers aren't going to put ads on your videos. So
True.
you can do that. But if you're using a free platform and you want to monetize your content, guess what? You can't do that. You can complain about it. But yeah, Kleenex toilet tissue is not going to advertise after you've just like said, fuck you to the whole world. It's just not going to happen. So
We've got 2 fucks out of Pete today. This is why my channel's here, folks. Right?
I know.
Do you know
The irony of me talking about the advice I gave you to stop swearing whilst swearing on your channel is just delicious.
You know, everyone I interview, nearly everybody comes on, the first thing they ask me, can I swear on here? And I'm like, go for it. Go for it. But I'll tell you what helped, Pete. The one thing that really helped, because I think you got to balance it out. Like yesterday, Gladys was over the top. I said cock. I think I don't know how many times I said the word cock on that show. It's too many. But this thing turned out to be really cool because you can balance it out and use that bleep button. I'm not getting any more of those things where they're reviewing it anymore because I've found the balance. And it's okay to swear if it's passion, you know, because swearing, you can be very passionate with swearing. And I'm glad it took some time to get there, but I wouldn't change it because that's it. It's your personality too that is very important. You got to hold on to that. You got to be true to yourself. It's like both of us. We both were corporate workers. Now we're doing this. What's the point of locking yourself into a fucking your own corporate prison? Too much. If you know, you may as well just go get a corporate job again. You know?
Yeah, it's true. We do, again, you got to stop and think about it and remember why you do this. Why do we do this? What is the key? It's not just to stroke our egos and feel good because some people care about us. It's to actually deliver something of value, but also to enjoy yourself and to have some fun. And again, you and I have talked about this before on previous rants, but I'm absolutely baffled by the miserable, sad mother effers. See, I was two's my maximum. Who hang around in groups and forums and just want to bring everyone down and be so negative about music and the creation process. And I'm just like, this should be friggin' joyful, man. What are you talking about?
Yep.
If you don't like it, go do something else. Like, I don't understand. But then again, the more I study about, you know, the human psyche, there are some people who just love, they actually are physically enjoying, they're getting the dopamine hits we get out of the awesomeness of music, they get out of the misery of complaining and bitching and moaning and bringing people down. So it's really hard to get out of that cycle once they're in it. So yeah, again, it comes down to, you know, what we'll talk about probably in the second half of this show, which is what we're focusing on moving forward. And we're at the halftime point of your show, Jade, so you might have something that you need to do right now.
Yeah, I do. I've got to play a song first. I'll come back and do it. So I wanted to just say a few people I've missed have come in. John Frank's songs. I want to thank Heathen Granny for the super chat. Thank you so much. I saw Stu Cash, Eric B. Who else? There's someone else I missed as well. I saw Sean Chandler as well. Mix Club, Bonfire. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining us today. Wow, there's 40 of you here. Thank you so much for hanging out with us all. Zach Thong as well. All right, so we're going to play a track and then we're going to hear from our sponsor, like we always do. And I'm going to play my only song that I released this year. It's the Dog and Cat song. You know what? It was so fun to do. So fun to do. And it was at a time when, man, the elections were on, and so draining. So it was Songtember. I tried to do 2 songs this year, as I mentioned. Viv had to go away. She had stuff planned. We didn't get it finished, and that's okay. There's no, but I got this finished, and boy, was it so much fun to see people sending in their animals and being able to do this. And it took some heat away from the nonsense of the world, because this year was, apart from everything else that every year we say, "Ooh, it was a terrible year." For me, the terrible stuff was just the news and the world. Like, fuck off. I'm so glad I've switched off, but we'll talk more about that. So this is FMC. This is my Songtember song, Fancy Feast. Let's do it. We start off with the horrible man himself. All right, let's Ode, shall we? All right.
They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, they're eating the pets of the people that live there.
Well, there you go. Not even going to give that any applause. Good job by all the animals involved, and I just supplied the music. Now let's hear from our sponsor. Oh, yeah. This presentation is proudly sponsored by DistroKid. Introducing DistroKid, your ultimate music distribution solution. For just $29.99 a year, DistroKid empowers you to release unlimited tracks on all major music platforms worldwide, including Spotify, Apple Music, TikTok, and so many more. Plus, use my link distrokid.com/VIP/JadeStarr and get 7% off your first year. You'll also keep 100% of your royalties and gain access to valuable tools like instant verification on Spotify and detailed revenue analytics. Don't let your music go unheard. Join DistroKid today and take your music career to the next level. Thank you, DistroKid, for sponsoring today's presentation. Indeed. Thank you, DistroKid, so very much for your continued support here on the Jade Starr Music channel. I really couldn't do it without you. I can't tell you how much of a help DistroKid are, not only to release my music when I do release music, and I know for so many other people who release music, but just to keep the wheels rolling here. I'm ever so grateful for their faith in me, because, Pete, let's face it, I'm a small channel, and I look around and see sponsorships on channels and that normally got a lot more subscribers than me. So I'm in a very privileged place, I guess.
Yeah, no, I the same. I thank DistroKid because, again, they support you and me, but they actually genuinely seem to care about creators and about small creators. And yes, they have to navigate the world of online streaming. And you and I have admitted that you're not going to make your millions of dollars by streaming revenue, most likely. But there's just something about it, isn't there? Something about having your music out there. I've often said, if you get your music out everywhere, then you don't have to do that dance of, oh, well, to get my music, you go to this link and then you click this thing and then you do that. Like, yeah, cool. Bandcamp's cool. SoundCloud, cool. You can just share your music there. But just being able to say to someone, just search my name, search artist name. If you want to find some Thomas Christ, you type in Thomas Christ into whatever you use. You want to find Jade Starr, you want to find Pete Johns, you just type in the name. And yeah, and it also just feels good. To have your name next to your favourite bands, and you can have a playlist with like Slayer into Jade Starr Dread Circus, like that must be super cool because it's just you're there, you're part of it, and I think you mentioned it there, like that it enables you, and it's a positive enabler.
Yeah.
DistroKid.
Yeah, look, I've said it many times. I don't care how much money I make streaming. I don't even really focus on that. It's the modern day divider in the record store. I remember being a kid and having albums come out and going to JB. The first time I had an album in JB and went there and I had a divider. So my name was on a divider. It's that. It's just that feeling of knowing that you can access it anywhere, anytime, anywhere. Somebody says, "Oh, you make music? Yeah, go here, Spotify, done."
Yep.
That's worth the price of admission, I think. And if you're sitting there thinking you're going to make $1 million in this industry, yeah, you're wrong.
Yep. And I know subscriptions are a four-letter word for some folks, but when you compare $22.99 or even $39.99 that I spend a year for my two artist names, yeah, what other subscription do you get for $40 a year that gives you that level of value that's actually that positive? Like your Netflix is probably $15 a month, your Spotify is $10 a month, so you're paying $120, $150, $200 a year to consume, and you're paying $40 a year to create and share. I think it's a no-brainer. Anyway, I'm highly influenced.
Yeah.
I'm an influencer, and I'm highly influenced because again, you and I have been using DistroKid for so long, and it just works. It's like Apple used to be. It just works.
And nothing's changed. I'm sure everybody here in the chat who's released music, on digital services, the rush when you finish a song and get it mastered and fill in that form, the rush of doing it, it's still awesome. I don't give a shit what anybody says. Yeah, and you hit go and you watch the little slider go.
Little bar goes off. And like, now that was easy, wasn't it? And you're like, yay!
Because it used to be tough too. Remember, you couldn't do it on iOS, and now there's an app for it, and it's, everything grows and gets better over time, and now it's just, oh wow, I can just do it on my iPhone. Holy jeez, everything's easy.
DistroKid have kind of been what I was talking about before. They adapt and change and have added things like DistroVid and their mixing mastering and a whole bunch of features, but they haven't lost their core belief that you just need to make it easy to get. They've concentrated on making sure that it's still easy. If you look at someone like SoundCloud, I know I pick on SoundCloud a lot, but
yes,
SoundCloud kind of lost the plot because they kept adding and building and adding and building and adding and building, and they kind of lost sight of what they were supposed to be, which was a quick, easy platform to just share your music, usually before it was completely finalized. And then DistroKid built slaps.com, which does exactly what SoundCloud used to do in a really simple way. So yeah, it is. I think there's that scope creep that you can get, and DistroKid, instead of doing that, they try different things and they add on, but they're off to the side. You can ignore everything. You can look at none of the goodies that DistroKid have on offer and just go in, press the upload button, put in your album artwork and your song and release it, and just do that over and over again. So you don't have to engage with, they're not always there in your face pushing additional features. You can just go, nah, release, go.
I'll just say, and no offense to DistroKid, but I do love the fact that once I release the music, they're gone. They're not in my emails.
They're out of your way. They've it's been submitted to stores and now it's out there.
I'm still getting emails from two other distributors. Of course, I'm not going to name them, that I was previously with, CD Baby. And they continue to send me emails even though I don't release music with them anymore, telling me, and it's like, please, I'm going to have to unsubscribe. Goodbye. It is what it is. Let's talk about, and good to see, yes, Michael Songs, get that music out there. Michael Songs dropped vinyl this year, which he released vinyl before actually releasing music anywhere else. Nice. And I thought that was really a unique thing to do because very personalized stuff. And each album that people got, there's a personal touch to it, that really great idea, but it'll be good to have Michael's songs on tap as well. And you shouldn't be timid because people love you. So let's talk about resolutions and why do so many people break them?
Oh, because they set unrealistic ones. Because they set too many. I think all the stuff I said the first half. I think resolutions can be a bane of your existence. And if you're sitting there going, I made these resolutions and I feel really bad about them, you've probably done it wrong. You should be feeling motivated and inspired by the resolutions that you set. And it should actually guide you and be this guiding, shining light towards what you actually want to achieve. And I think, again, you do you, boo. Again, I'm going to keep a bit of my 2024 here. Do it however you like. If you want to have a list of 101 things that you can tick off through the year and that makes you feel good, then that's great. Like, do that if it makes you feel good. But if it doesn't, if it makes you feel burdened, you're probably not going to be performing at your best. Whereas if you have a couple of simple things that you can utilize as your guiding principles for the year, and whenever you're making a decision or doing something, come back to that. Or more importantly, have resolutions that are like if your resolution is to get 1 million streams, that's not something you have control over. But if your resolution is to release 10 amazing songs in the hope that you'll generate as much interest as possible and work your ass off towards that, then that's actually doable. It's achievable and it's measurable, and you can actually measure your effort as opposed to the outcome. Anytime you're measuring outcome as opposed to effort, I think you're playing a bit of a losing game, because it's really hard to manipulate, because you don't know. The rules change. You know this with YouTube, and you know this with Spotify. If I said my goal was to increase my Spotify revenue to $100 last year, guess what? I was shit out of luck, because one of the first things they did in 2024 was implement a new rule where unless you got 1,000 streams per song per year, you got paid zero. So my Spotify earnings went from about $60-$70 a year to zero.
Thanks, Spotify.
But through no fault of my own, like no effort level was different for me. It was just a scenario. So I guess if your goals and if your resolutions are based around things that can be impacted by environmental factors, by political factors, by things outside of your control, I don't think they're great resolutions. And if folks disagree with that, then feel free. Like let us know your resolutions in the chat, and let me know how wrong I am and why I'm wrong, because I'm a big boy. I got thick skin. I'm cool.
We have an amazing influencer here in Australia, and you may know who he is, Pete. And that's what I reckon. He's really funny. I don't know if he's a comedian or not, but he has a great YouTube channel where he cooks, and he's trying to promote people to get out to the supermarket and stop buying packaged crap, like packaged pasta sauce and that, because it is actually really easier to make your own sauces and stuff like that. Yeah. And he released his New Year's message on resolutions, and I'm going to play it because it's fucking brilliant. So let's see if I can find it and make sure it's got sound. Let's see if I can do that now.
Hi everyone, I just wanted to stop past because I've got social media and I'm supposed to do shit like say the thing because it's the time. So I just wanted to wish everyone a fucking massive meltdown next year, because fucking who gives a shit? Like honestly, fucking, I don't know if you were here for the last few years, but starting to feel a bit rich asking people to have a happy one. So, and like, fuck it, just do whatever you want. Stop listening to fuckwits like me. They have their finger on the Zoom button being like, oh, well, we should do that. Just fucking do whatever you want. Just feel the feels, and I hope you're safe and loved, and that's it. Just fucking be you. Okay, goodbye. Enough shit out of the fuck. See ya. Hi everyone. I just wanted to stop past because I've got social.
The best. Just fucking do whatever you want. I don't care.
Yeah, so that's probably the unfiltered version of you do you, boo. That's exactly what I feel. I just say it and communicate it in a slightly different way. And yeah, look, it's not everyone's going to be happy all the time, and I think that's totally cool as well. I think the sign of just being yourself and being able to embrace things is knowing that you're allowed to be sad sometimes, you're allowed to be unfulfilled, you're allowed to be frustrated, you're allowed to be angry. It's when you try to put on a happy face and grin and bear it and don't ever show your true self that it's a challenge. Now, that doesn't mean that you just need to have a poor little old me, a big plum party every day of the year and tell everyone what you think of them all the time. That can lead to a lot of conflict and a lot more drama than you probably need in your life. But you'll know that if you surround yourself with the right people that also understand and believe that, and know that sometimes you're going to have some down days and will be there when you're ready to be back again, That's all you can do. And again, without diving too deep into it, like he said there, you can have a meltdown. And it's like sometimes we have meltdowns, and sometimes we're suffering from depression or anxiety or just the shits, and we've got the shits on, and that's okay. And the people that know and love you and that are around you know that, and they'll still be there for you. It's the people that will judge you by that, and the people that will be harsh, and the people that will try to bring you down or make you feel worse. They're the people that maybe you just need to separate yourself from in 2025.
Yeah, and look, every year, just on resolutions that get broken, a lot of them get broken because, I don't know, alcohol. A lot of people make their resolutions on New Year's Eve when they're tanked up and they're, hey, I love everybody.
This year I'm going to do it differently.
I've dropped an eckie and I love everyone. I'm going to do all this shit. And it's like unrealistic. Shut your mouth and just enjoy the booze and watch the boom boom in the sky, right? Just keep it to yourself. But again, this is something I want to talk about too with, we do this, touch on this at the beginning of the show. Every year we get to the end of the year and go, wow, I can't wait till next year. This has been such a shit year. Folks, it's the day clicks over and there is no change. It's just another day. These are just calendar numbers that we assign to keep some kind of order with society. That's all it really is. It's not going to magically change things. I think what I try to focus on more than anything else is what good things happen. Because we are in this world at the moment where we are focusing, like YouTube, if you want to become a really popular YouTube content creator very quickly, well, guess what? Here's your ticket. Just make videos that shit can people. Just do exposés on other YouTubers and how their downfall. That's the market at the moment. People love seeing predators get caught and just, like, fair enough, I like seeing that too, because they're scum. But the downfall and just this person was this, and we're at this stage of loving to tear everything down. And the focus should be on, well, what did we know lots of bad shit happens, because you know what? Bad shit happens every year. It's a roller coaster. Yeah. But if you can find some of the good and focus on that and realize some good stuff happened, and it always does. It's not always equal, but there is still good stuff to hold on to. I think you're going to be in a better place and make resolutions that maybe aren't so out of reach. That's how I look at it anyway. You do you, boo. I never tell anybody else how to live their life or what to do, but try and stay a little bit positive, because you know everywhere else is telling you you're shit. Everyone around you is shit, and you've got no hope. The world's going to end. So
yeah, and look, it's do we all slip into a little bit of nihilism from time to time, where you think that, yeah, you know what? I see what's going on. It's not even worth it anymore. Like, why do I even bother? And the reason that you bother is that it is worth it, because guess how many lives you get to live? Single digit. Yeah. So, like, why would you waste your life worrying about things that are not only outside of your control, but even outside of your influence? Like, I can't influence the outcome of politics and elections. I can't influence the climate decisions of large evil corporations. But what I can do is put enough positivity in the world that people that are worrying about those things and that are maybe too focused on those things maybe come and have a laugh at a dopey bloke in Adelaide playing some songs for an hour. And I think that's the key to this sort of stuff. And it's not to say that you need to like roll over and just let, oh man, if we stop being angry, then the other side have won. And I think it's actually the exact opposite of that. I think if you could just laugh in the face of adversity, have a little bit of gallows humor and go, we're all in this together, folks. We'll get through it. Let's have some fun. Let's enjoy ourselves. Let's show that, no, we are not the downtrodden, that no, we are not going to become negative. No, we are not going to lower ourselves to your level. We are going to remain as positive as we can, but more importantly, we're going to remain supportive to one another. And find a way to actually be a community. And that's where a lot of my stuff has come out of. That in 2025, I'm going with the pad. There's pads in music, and there's going to be pads in my 2025. So it's all going to be about positivity, acceptance, and diversity. And everything I do in the next year, I'm going to focus on that. I'm going to be like, am I trying to put a positive message into the world? Am I accepting all people from different viewpoints? Not necessarily agreeing with them, but accepting that people, again, the you do you boo thing. They're allowed to have their opinions. Opinions are like buttholes, as we know, and just accepting diversity. That different types of music, different types of people is good. And I think that we've been pushed into pigeonholes. We've been pushed into these groups where people say, no, you must be with your tribe. And I'm going to get away from that. I think that's really dangerous to say, I found my tribe, I found my group, because then you just sit in this echo chamber of same. And we've seen it. No matter how positive you try to be, you've seen it in the last year, Jade and I have too, these little groups where they get into these echo chambers that start out as a positive movement can become very negative very quickly because they're not listening. They're not attached to the real world, and it's how conspiracy theories start, and it's how cults start. It comes from this place of positivity and wanting community and connection, and ends up being negative because they end up not accepting. They think they're being accepting of themselves, but they're not accepting of anyone that doesn't think the way they do. So yeah, it's again, it's not always easy to do. The very first podcast I did of the year this morning was about a negative topic. But again, before I recorded that, I tried to go, how do I position this in a way that's just the facts, that's just going to, and I think that the way I sort of said, well, this is a positive thing, is that I gave people in 20 minutes what they could have watched 20 outrage, angry, yelling videos about.
For an hour.
Well, for hours and hours. And I just sort of covered it quickly, condensed and said, look, this kind of sucks, but here's what it is. What can we do about it? Well, you can support your creators. You can look for the human. You can look for people that are doing things like us. Yeah, was it slightly self-serving? Sure. But yeah, I just wanted to get the facts out there. So I don't know. It's a work in progress, and you hit the nail on the head. I didn't start doing this on January 1. Like, it wasn't that I wasn't doing it on December 31 and I started it on January 1. It's that it's been an evolution throughout last year, and it will be an evolution in this year. And you know what? I might hit the middle of the year and go, I need to add something to this because it's not working for me for this reason. And I was too short-sighted and wasn't focused enough on whatever. But yeah, so again, my resolution, I will still sit down and do the list, so update last year's list, and I'll probably do that on Patreon in the next week or so. Something to look forward to, patrons. Yeah, lists. Ooh, all right, party time. But yeah, that's where we are. How about you? What's your 25 looking like?
Well, let's get into it. So for first, I want to hear from everyone here. Give us one. I know a few people have been putting them in there. I want to thank Still Illa for this comment. Whenever I see or hear of an app may be useful, I immediately search Jade's videos. Thank you so much. Listen, again, I'm not a salesperson. I'm not here to tell you what to buy. That's not the intent. That's to give you a look at, is it right for you? That's it. There's, and sometimes I will say flat out, this is amazing, but I'm talking about for me. This is about me. I think this is great. And there's been times in 2024 I said, I think you should buy this if it's going to help you make better music. Yeah. Because that's it. If you I don't want people to be buying apps just and having them sit on an iPad. I have to deal with that because I get so many codes and I can't use all of them. So I get paralyzed myself. I don't want you to be there. That's my job, to take that from you. So that's why I don't make any music. But we've had some people put in here what their resolutions are. And one of them here, I want to say hi to Pole Vault. I love this one because people might look at this, and let's see if I can find it now. I think it was something to do with I want to do less. Here it is. I want to do less and accomplish more. Now, people may scoff at that and go, well, how can you can do that? Doing less is more. Sometimes there's when makeup, for example, there's a thing that women pass on to their daughters about makeup. Less is more. It is a thing, and it applies to so many things, and you can have a much happier life doing less and accomplishing more. I'm trying to learn that, and that is going to be part of my plans this year, and hopefully some of you will put in some stuff while we're going on, and I'll read them out. It's hard for me to go back, but let me start with some of my plans. The first one is no absolutes. I can't deal with absolutes for 2025 because, as I've worked out in the 5th year of doing this coming up to, things change. I think you've got a song about it, Pete. and they change very quickly, and you have to be able to change on a dime. And if you give yourself absolutes, then you've adhered yourself to some strict invisible wall, and that you have to now I've got a responsibility to stick to that because I said I was going to do that. And no, you don't have a fucking responsibility. You have to evolve with the way the world evolves or the way things evolve around you. And so that is my number one. No absolutes. Obviously, I want to make more music, and I'm good. I'm in a great place. As I said earlier, I've got 3 albums so close to being released. There's going to be a lot of music from me this year. I've already got the ball rolling on collaborations. I want to do more collaborations. That's happening. So I'm good with that. I just want to continue to, I think one of the things I need to do for a resolution, plan, sorry, they're not resolutions for me, plans, is get into a better schedule for myself. Taking on doing pre-recorded videos and live streams. You know this, Pete. Doing live streams is so easy. You just get up, you can fall straight out of bed and just go banging your live, and it's great. But once you take on the responsibility of doing pre-recorded content, it's not just that. It's writing a script. It's putting together the parts. It's doing the actual, it's learning the app. It's then editing and uploading and all that stuff. There's so much to it. And I've found gets to the time that I set for myself to do it and go, oh, I can just do it tomorrow, can't I? Really? I can do that tomorrow. And I got to get out of that because the other thing is plan is health. And I say this every year. I did really well with health last year. Walk With Me has been a thing, and I invested a lot of money into Walk With Me, and for not much return, and I was good with that because it wasn't about viewers. It was never about, this is a channel that focuses on apps, and all of a sudden I've got all these cameras out filming sites of Melbourne. It was about my health because I was told that you need to lose weight and get this done. And I lost a lot of weight. I lost 20 kilos, over 20 kilos. And then unfortunately I put it all back on because I stopped doing it because winter came along and you can't really go out and film. It's not a sustainable project when winter's here because it's shit and you can't go out and film.
Walking me on the treadmill is not quite as much fun.
And I tried to do some winter ones as well. And then that's when I came up with this idea of Eat With Me. And that is happening. That's definitely happening this year. I've already set my kitchen up. Now I have this huge kitchen and I'm going to cook healthy food in winter when I can't walk. So that's the thing. And so that's something I've had planned for a while. And yes, I've got a sponsor for it and all this. That's all coming up. So there's that. I want to Walk With Me will kick off again the next week because guess what? I had some blood tests last week and things aren't really good. I was going there to get blood tests for getting medical marijuana because I want to get stoned. I'm just going to admit it because I'll tell you a little story, Pete. When I was looking for houses, I found a bag of weed in the gutter. And most people would go, I'm not going to go home and smoke that. I don't know where that's come from. Me, I took it home and smoked it. And I wrote an entire Metheist album in 2 days. I forgot how creative I used to be when I smoked weed. And people are all different. And I went and saw a doctor about it for pain management and let's get on it. So I went and got some blood tests. Unfortunately, the blood test came back with you've got pre-diabetes and your liver's shot. So I have to change things again. So this week's shopping has all gone back to a meat diet, got carbs gone. I have to change everything up again. I have to get walking again. I have to drink more water again because this is fixable. It's fixable. I did it already. So that's my goal, my plan to start recording Walk With Me. Not so much for you guys to see those sites. That's just a bonus, but to get me out walking again. So there's that. The other thing is, as I said, playing live in a band. And that's happening. It kicks off this week. So I'm very excited to take you all on the journey of doing live gigs and taking you to these live things. It's going to be wild. And I'm 52 years old and I played in bands my whole life. And I'm going to get to show you all the real me live and where I thrive, and not sitting here in a room talking to myself, jumping around in a chair each weekend singing. So very exciting stuff coming up on the channel. There's lots more to discuss about what's happening here, but I've got to have some surprises. That's the most important thing. I don't want to give it all away yet, because what if it doesn't happen? Because I don't know what's going to happen this year. And that's it. So, but the last thing I want to say is my continued determination to be as transparent and genuinely me here on the channel each and every day, and give and try and keep the content being interesting and changing things up and keeping it about you. Right? It's about you. It's not about me. I just happen to be the mouth that spits this shit out. And so, and watch you all grow, because I tell you, and I'm sure you're going to agree with me, social media, I heard it from you, it's a two-way street. Yeah, and it's not about me. I just sit here and spit shit. But the proudest thing I love every year is just seeing you guys make music. It's just wicked. I used to be in a position where I just wanted to be the star of the show. I was a very self-centered piece of shit. But now it brings me so much joy to see others. I don't sit here and go, oh, I only released one song this year. I don't give a shit. Whatever. I look around and see so many people getting better and better and better and releasing better stuff, and it gets harder and harder each year to pick songs to play for my end-of-year show. You just blow me away. And it used to be, I get up every morning to do this show to stay healthy, to get up and get out of bed and do something. It's not that anymore. It's actually evolved into, I get up every day to see you guys, because I can't thank you all enough for the support that you have given me and continue to. Yeah. Pete Johns, what about you?
Yeah, well, as I like to say, it's YouTube, not me tube.
Yes.
So, we, again, and it was why I started with it could have been create and record. Like I could have had no release, and I could have not started Your Music Live and started sharing more people's music. But like you say, it has actually become the best part of what I do, to the point where almost a detrimental point where I need to make more freaking tutorials in 2025. So yeah, I do need to get more practical, same sort of deal. I need to get back to the video a day, and not to say, hello to Coldacre, not to say that quality doesn't matter, but I think I got to the point where I'm like, unless I can do something that I know is going to be good, or that's going to be like, I'm just not going to do anything. That doesn't really work, because as you know and I know, the best videos that you put out there aren't always the ones that you think are going to be the best. Sometimes you just throw something together and throw it at the wall and see what sticks, and it's actually really good. So I'm going to, again, not say, yeah, it's all quantity over quality, but I think that there's some things that I can just share, that I can put together, that are going to be quick and easy. And that's sort of my focus at the start of the year, just to get back into the habit, to build up those muscles of just creating myself, like creating videos and sharing them on a daily basis outside of the live shows, because the channel did morph in the last 2 years from very much focused on tutorial and learning content to very much focused on live streams and a bit more rant and personality, which I know many folks like and is good, but I need to find the balance a bit more. So that's the main thing for me in terms of actual work in 2025, is to get back to basics, to get back to the fact that every week there should be 7 videos. If it's 4 live streams and 3 pre-records, that's fine. But every week, 7 videos, and covering a diverse range of topics that are going to appeal to different folks. So yeah, as simple as that, really, for the next year, and see what happens. Adapt with the change, and yeah. Again, I've got a lot of work to do just to revisit a lot. I've got a list of videos I need to recreate, and then it'll be about, well, what happens, what's new in the new year, and continuing to follow Apple and see what they do, because that's always fun too, isn't it?
New devices.
I don't know at what point I just sort of slipped into becoming the let's cover everything that Apple ever do person, but it kind of works. And over the last 2 years, one of the best things that's happened, which I still feel privileged about, is I think I was rewarded. I bought my first Mac in 2020, and then Apple reached out like not long after that in 2021. And I've actually had the privilege of working with Apple. You can say what you will about Apple, drink the Kool-Aid, $3 trillion company, blah, blah, blah. But I think the hard work and determination I put in for 6 years, building up the channel and the reputation I have, means that if I'm trusted by the biggest brand or one of the three biggest brands in the world to not do the wrong thing. And again, it's not about I have to just say only nice things. If anyone that's ever watched this channel knows that I don't just say nice things about Apple. When Apple do something wrong, I call them out for it. When Apple release a bad product or don't, update GarageBand in a good way, like they did in the last version, I call them out on it. But I think they know, and it's kind of what I was talking about in the podcast today, they know that my personal integrity and reputation won't allow me to do anything that they know is going to be brand damaging for them. And there's a difference between being able to be honest and talk about it. Like they've never told me to say a particular thing about a particular thing. They just let me have it, give me the device and say, there you go, you use it. So I don't know. I'm proud that I can at least have some of these wonderful companies that are working with me. I know it sounds a bit wanky now that I say it out loud, but it's an honor and I feel trusted, and I think that's important.
Yeah, absolutely. And me and Mike talked about this over on his show recently. He had a really troubling thing with an Apple experience. And, I didn't let loose either. Apple's everything, I make music on is Apple. But, man, they make some mistakes, don't we all? We all make mistakes. And you've got to be able to call out on it. And we spoke about the perception that people have that everyone who gets gear or apps or whatever is told what to say. If somebody ever tells me what to say, I will not deal with them. They can go fuck themselves.
No,
because
we've both had those companies, haven't we?
Yeah, we have.
We'll give you this for free. When you do your review, you must send us a copy. You must use these talking points in your video, and then you got to send it back at the end of it. And I'm like, and I get exactly what out of this? So no, I only work with companies that, they'll give you guidelines. Like DistroKid give us guidelines. They're like, there might be a new feature that they want to promote and they'll tell us about it, but it's not here, you must say this. And I work with BandLab as well, and they were the same. I did very rarely do I do a Black Friday sale promotion thing. This year I did for BandLab because their premium service is actually really cool. And again, they gave me some notes to talk about, and I got to just work out a concept based on that. And they didn't want to see a preview of it. They didn't want to double check it and tell me what to change. So yeah, it's exactly that. And that's the difference, is that if a product does come to me and they say, here's our product, and we'll send it to you, but you must make X video and you must say these things and you must only say nice things. I'm like, no, sorry. That's a brand deal. That's different. But I won't accept a brand deal until I've actually used and liked the brand, which is a bit different. And it's why, I don't give advice on things like VPNs and mental health and becoming a lord in Scotland and saving money with honey. So I'm a bit like John West. It's the sponsors and it's the brands that I reject that make Studio Live today the best.
Yeah, and I only reach out to companies that I trust, and I already kind of have a thing that I'm using the stuff. Like, listen, hey, I'm just going to say it now. Rode, please. My whole studio is Rode. Let's give you a sponsorship, guys.
I need to chat to Rode about my Rodecaster Pro that kind of, it's doing okay today, but it kind of just freezes about once every 3 or 4 days at the moment.
It's
and
a
not
weird thing.
consistent, but it just does it. And I've updated the firmware and maybe when I tell them, I'm just like, so I was streaming to my 147,000 subscribers the other day, Rode, and my mixer was not functioning properly. Can you give me a new one and a $10 million contract for promotion? No, it's not like that at all. I just wanted to fix it or give me a new one. But yeah, like there's good companies like Rode, and again, Yeah, it's a weird one too because Rode don't work. If you've watched a lot of YouTube content, you'll know that Rode don't do a lot of sponsored content. And if you compare that to companies that do, I'm not saying because again, obviously DistroKid, they have a lot of sponsored content and they're like the exception that proves the rule. But there's a lot of particular brands of headphones perhaps, or maybe some particular online games that you see advertised on absolutely everyone's videos. And you got to think after a while, with that level of saturation, the products really don't speak for themselves, do they? And I think Rode kind of have that brand quality where as soon as you use some Rode gear, I was late to the Rode party. I only joined the Rode party like a year ago, but their gear is so good that as soon as you get it, you'll just tell other people it's good. You don't even need incentive. Whereas, I don't know, let's just say Raycon, we'll just make up a name, headphones, if you use
Never heard of them.
you would you'd use them and then you'd tell people that they're good. I don't know that anyone would buy those at Raycons and then just off their own bat tell other people, hey, I've got these amazing Raycons. Anyway, I'm naming and shaming now. I said I was going to be positive in 2025. What's going on?
Well, this studio here is basically built up of Rode and Elgato now. Elgato lights, Elgato Stream Deck, Elgato cameras. All three cameras are Elgato, but all the audio side of it is all Rode. Everything's Rode except for this one microphone. Oh no, this is Rode as well. So wireless mic, everything's Rode here. Because again, the one thing with Rode, I know I'm not meaning to do an ad with them, but fuck man, I've had some issues with the gear too. The headphones, we know they deal with the headphones. I've had 2 pairs that are broken. But as soon as that happened, what they do, they made every set of those headphones a lifetime warranty. So if they break again, I just keep getting the same headphones fixed forever. Like, what company does that? You know what I mean? And every time I've had to send something back, it's just ridiculously fast, very easy, very super to deal with. But there's that. I want to talk about something on YouTube. Now, I'm not sure if you're aware of this. I just want to put this out there because not a lot of people would be subscribed to the YouTube creator channel. And I know I am, but there's been some changes to shorts. Shorts have increased now to 3 minutes. If you didn't know, now you know. And the reason I want to bring this up is the way now, as soon as I saw this, I was like, wow, what a shit idea. Because let's be honest, shorts are annoying for a lot of us. There's a way to get rid of them out of your feed. If you see shorts and just click the little dots and say, I don't want to see this anymore, shorts should disappear out of your feed, if that's the way you want to go. YouTube tried to jump on the shorts thing. To a degree, it's working for some content creators. I don't know who they are. They're probably just weirdos from TikTok who want to just maximize whatever. But making it 3 minutes, the first thing I thought was, how's that going to affect musicians? Because we make songs that could be FMC under 3 minutes. Does that mean my videos are just going to become shorts now? No. If you shoot them long ways, under 3 minutes, they will become a short. All videos that are shot that way will become a short. If you shoot them, horizontal, this way, then they will become normal videos. So just be aware of it. They slip this in very sneakily under the radar, and I recommend that you go and subscribe to the YouTube creator channel because every week they update you on new features and things that are coming out for monetization, and there's been a lot of them that they've just snuck in. I'm not going to cover them today, but I just thought it would be important to get this out there. Pete, for 2024, how would you grade YouTube?
So I have mixed feelings about my business daddy, which is YouTube. Since Renee Ritchie moved to YouTube as their creator liaison, I have seen some good things. They are more transparent with their communication, like you mentioned there. We actually get emails when things are changing as creators. They've increased the level of security that you have with your channel, so you can have decent 2-factor on there now because a bunch of big name creators basically got spoofed and scammed. So they've improved that side of things. And I think they are working to try and be as transparent as possible. Does it always work? No, because one of the biggest challenges that we have as creators is we still don't have visibility of the why of a lot of things. So I know you've run into this, I've run into this, many people have, that something goes wrong with your YouTube channel or with a YouTube video, getting hold of someone to actually ask a human why that is. And when you do get hold of a human, they don't have any clue about being a creator. So it's almost like they need to, their support team need to be ex-creators. They need to go and recruit a bunch of creators to actually go and be their support team, because their support team don't seem to know a whole lot about being a content creator. That being said, a couple of good things I've seen with YouTube. I did a video on it the other day, but the little thing, if you're ever on YouTube Studio, read that little thing that pops up at the top. They try to give you a little pop-up with the latest thing, and the latest thing there is about third-party AI. I know we haven't mentioned the words AI in an hour and 50 minutes.
You've done it,
We did not say
no.
AI. But there is a setting in there, and in a move that I thought was really strange, it is actually set to off. You have to opt in to share your videos and let them be scraped by third-party AIs. Now, read between the lines there, third-party AIs, not by YouTube. YouTube can use your videos for whatever they want, basically. As soon as you sign that agreement with the YouTube Partner Program, they get your firstborn child and everything else. So it's not to do with that. But if I had to give YouTube a grade, especially if I compare them to, say, Meta, TikTok, the competitors we see around there, they still pay creators better than any other platform. They still have a simple set of tools to get your stuff uploaded, and they've improved those quite a bit in terms of like the YouTube editor, so you can go in and edit your videos, and the YouTube Shorts editor. So yeah, they're a B minus, a solid B minus, maybe a C plus if you wanted to be a bit more critical, but they're also the only game in town. So what do you do? Where would I create and where would I share stuff? If I didn't share it here, it would have to be all Patreon. And the nicest possible way, I love everyone who supports me on Patreon, but it's not going to keep the lights on or pay the bills in terms of the volumes that I would need. If I wanted to go 100% user supported, I'd need more like 10,000 patrons as opposed to the 100 or so that I have. So yeah, what do you reckon? How do you reckon YouTube have fared in 24?
I'll give him a B, only because, and it's not even their doing, it's because I've began to understand them more.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's really, you want to get the most out of YouTube. You have to understand YouTube and not be so upset with the poor decisions that they make, but instead try to work around those to make it better for you. And like I said earlier, with swearing and all that kind of stuff, I've worked out ways around it where I can remain being me-tube, even though this is about you. But like, I have to be able to be me so you can enjoy what I provide. And that's really hard because you want to hold on to as much of who you really are as possible. And sometimes YouTube's restrictions don't allow you to do that easily. So understanding YouTube a little bit more has been good, but that's my part. So I had to do that. But the tools that they are giving, and you hit on the head, since getting Renee Ritchie in, I followed Renee Ritchie for many, many years back on the iPhone blog before it became iMore. I won 2
R.I.P.
iPads. I won 2 iPad minis on iMore, a red one and a normal one, and got sent them all in one competition. So I know Renee pretty well from those days. I used to moderate when they did their podcast in the live stream, and all that crew. So seeing him get on board has been really cool because he shoots straight, and it's been a really good person to have a face to YouTube, even though they really need to sort out their help and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
As I say this every year though, as creators, we need a direct line to people who actually fucking know what the Creator Studio does. It's piss poor. And that's the biggest thing I think they could improve. And I look in terms of memberships and you know, gifting and all that kind of stuff, they're getting better. They're definitely getting better at it, and hopefully they can continue to improve on that stuff and help us make the chats more interactive, because, you know, the emojis have been great. Every channel's benefited from emojis because we love them. They're fun and it keeps the chat going, and I'm all about that. I don't want people just to sit here and sit in silence and listen to me. I like the idea of emojis. I was probably one of the first people in this space of our community to put emojis out there, and I looked at it like this is like going to WWE and taking a blow up beach ball and being able to throw it around the crowd, you know. And WWE stopped people from doing that for some reason, because they're like, you're taking it away from the show. But no, people should have things to do in the chat and have fun and you know, because we can get a bit boring sometimes, can't we?
We can, yeah. I often say that in Your Music Live. I'm like, if you don't watch the show live, if you watch the replay, I mean, you get a little bit of it. You can obviously watch the live chat replay, but there's something about being there live, because it's like watching a TV show. There's the A plot. There's what we're putting out there. There's the B plot, which is a bit of the chat, and then there's the weird and wacky C plot, where it's usually a couple of people like Coldacre and like Leela and others that are doing right now, that are just having random chats about stuff that are completely unrelated to what's going on. So yeah, it can be good to have that. People think, oh, does it mean you're being boring that people are talking about other things? And it's like, no, it's just that 2 hours is a long bloody time to listen to two people like us rabbit on. So you need to have some stimulation in some other places. So yeah.
To close out, so we can all get on with our day and move people on to the next place they need to go. Percentage Cow says, is Pete still talking?
We're like the Peanuts teacher.
Look, here's the thing I've been talking to Leela about too. It's why I do an hour show, and you know it's good to do an hour show. These shows on Thursday are always 2 hours. An hour show is really good because you're able to get people, have their attention, and then allow them to move on. Because there's so many other things to go and do on YouTube now. You don't want to take up. I think the old and Hippies, you know, says he's taking a break now. I think the time of the 5 hour streams is getting a little bit long in the tooth, because I can't do it. I got other things to do, and I'll normally watch people's content. But when they're 5 hours, it's like, man, this could have been said in 2. Honestly, so it is a thing. What would you like to say to our people that are watching? Because we do have a lot of crossover here. Before we get out of here, anything to say to our good folk, the people who support us? I want to do a bit of a thank you thing. So or you can tell me to fuck off.
Yeah, no, I think you're right that when we did this, when you invited me on to do like resolutions, I was hoping it would be more like this and less like, okay, so here's the absolute cutoff point of 2024, and now here's everything we're going to do in 2025, because it's a lifelong thing, and it's a continual moving, evolving, changing thing. So the only real thing that I wanted to say to end up with is to say, yeah, thank you to everyone in the community. I know it's very cliched to say at this point in time, we all say it, but there's different communities out there that you can be a part of. You have that choice. And I'm always quite shocked because I'm like a little beaver. No, what's an animal that lives in a hole? I'm a mole. I'm a meerkat. I pop my little head out occasionally, and I look around at what's happening in other parts of the YouTube world, and I'm just like, holy crap. And I immediately go back into my little hole because it's really scary out there. There's some people that are doing some things that are not great. There's some communities that are constantly in conflict, constantly fighting, constantly having drama. And I'm either ignorant to it, or I don't see it happening in my live chats and in my channels and when I hang out with Thomas and hang out here. So yeah, you folks are pretty darn cool. And you are diverse still. So there's different people with different sort of attitudes and ways of doing things. And I think that's cool too. So yeah, again, I celebrate because my pad of 2025, my positivity, my acceptance, and my diversity, which are kind of going to try and be my triad of truth for the next year. I think it'll be really easy to do hanging out with you folks because you're all super cool. You're hip, slick, and cool.
I'm straight. Don't remember when I first had Hippie on, I did an interview and I thought he was saying hip, slick, and cool. And I put I put it on the thumbnail, and Hippie messaged me, emailed me, and said, "It's hip, slick, and cool, you idiot." And I was like, well, why don't you turn your microphone up, and then I would hear you.
He's like,
stop mumbling.
You're like, what?
Boom, boom, boom. You know what I mean?
We love you, Jeff.
We do. So I want to say, firstly, is thank you to all of the other creators out there. And there's a big bunch of you all. Laurie's Mishmosh, Pole Vault, Metalhead Hippie, Thomas Christ, Brad Example, Chad Freeman. There's so many. I'm already probably missing Leela, Rise of Dark Leela. So many people every single day who do. So we've got Axon Nacho, Camp Gmail. So many great creators out there who provide something different all the time. And, you know, there's always something very unique to watch. Everyone has their own flavor. And that's what is really fantastic. I just want to promise you all, going into 2020, this is one thing I can promise you 100%. This is not a resolution. I can just guarantee to continue to do what I do on here. Nothing's really going to change. You're still going to get me all the time, straight shooter. And again, sorry to bring it up, but I don't give a shit. That's just what I do. There were some challenges this year in this community. For the first time ever, I saw conflict. And I kept silent on it for a little while. Not everybody saw it, right? So there's that. And not everybody did, and that's okay. But what has made me just feel good about holding on to hope is that I always felt it was going to get resolved. And just the last couple of weeks has been incredibly motivating. Sadly, through some really upsetting stuff, but sometimes that's how it happens. You know, life is short and things go down. But to see the resilience of everybody bounce back and lately everybody supporting each other, just again, this is why I no longer get up to do this show for me to get out of bed. It's now you so much more, because just seeing everybody come together the last 2 weeks has been really incredible and very inspiring. And I think you should give you all of yourselves a pat on the back for the music you create and just the constant support that you give each other. It's very, very inspiring, I have to say. One of the only communities I've ever been on since being on the internet that I see this. And I want to remind you too, it's okay to be a dick sometimes. It's okay to be a dick and say things that are a little bit fucking taken as wrong, you know? It's okay to be a little bit edgy sometimes and have a bit of a sarcastic laugh, as long as it's not hurtful, yeah? When you start targeting people, that's when it gets bad. So hopefully, I think we all learnt something this year. I learnt a lot this year from being a on-screen presenter. I learnt the most valuable thing: shut the fuck up when stuff's going on and just let it play out. And then when you see something happen, change, bring it up and say, well done, good on you, well done, people. So, and finally, I just want to thank everybody for the support that you've given me on Patreon and here on the channel, and just coming along and watching on the replay, leaving comments that I am shocking at responding to. I didn't say that I was going to fix that, but I will fix that this year, because I'm quite terrible at it. But there's that. So you're all wonderful. Keep doing what you're doing. And I just look forward to seeing what happens this year and hopefully remaining positive. Lastly, I just want to say I let go of politics this year. I removed so many channels, Pete, from my YouTube algorithm around it. Donald Trump, politics, TYT, all that bullshit. I am trying hard this year to remove myself from politics, because it's nonsense and it just brings you down and it's just shit. So let politicians, because guess what? They're always going to be and you can't change that. Yeah, that's what they are. Lastly, we lost a whole bunch of people this year from this community, probably more than ever before. And I'm not going to go through all the names because I don't have that list in front of me, but recently Adam Burst was one of them. And I'm sure Laurie's better. She can probably put them in the chat. I'm terrible with this stuff. But recently we lost Kurt Kasprick. And it's been really hard to see people who have supported us as musicians not be here anymore. But again, you guys have just outshone yourselves with looking after each other, and you guys bought Russ an iPad, Brad a computer. We've all supported Justine and sent money. When people have been in need, we've all just been there and done some amazing things. So you really are incredible. So thank you for being making me not feel like I'm sitting in a room every day talking to myself and some fish. So there's that.
Yep, and I think one of the best things I see here is I know that it's a bit of a meme now, but when people come in and all say hello to each other, it's like the "Are you okay" day that we have here in Australia. And I know some other parts of the world are doing it now too. It's like it's important to check in on people before. Like I know that there can sometimes be crises and sometimes be things that people are going through, but sometimes you can avoid a lot of that by just showing some human kindness. And I see so much of that around here that people are just like, hey, how you doing? And some people say, oh, I got COVID. And then there'll be a 10-minute chat. And by the end of it, the person that's like, I got COVID, like they're suddenly being supported as opposed to feeling alone and isolated, which they might be otherwise. So the little things, yeah, some big things happen from time to time, but the little tiny things that you think might not be making a difference are probably making a huge difference to others.
Absolutely. There are the names: Adam Burst, Derek Swain, Kurt Kasprick, Billy Breeze, Josh Harris, and a slew of our family members. So, yeah, thoughts go out to their families as well. And so I forgot about that. I remade an Adam Burst song this year as well. Holy shit. See, I forgot. That was a collaboration I did with Adam, and he was unfortunately not here to witness it. So, yeah, collaborations, tick. There we go. So we're going to go out with, I was going to go out with a collaboration with me and Mateusz, but I think I'll change that up. Let's do that. Jade, Starr, Adam Burst. It just feels right. So if you don't know, I remade an Adam Burst track after he passed, unfortunately, and I took his music and his lyrics, and I used the amazing stem splitter in Logic and was able to rip out his voice and then isolate it, and then I got to remake all of the music and put it together to make a video with footage of him and me together singing, and it's something I'm super proud of, and I can't believe I didn't remember it because I'm a dickhead. But we're going to go out with that. I want to thank you all for being here today and hanging out. You guys rock. Thanks to the super chat that came through. I'm sure you'll understand, Mateusz, because you're awesome. And we're making more music this year. All right, let's go out with this. Thank you, Pete. And folks, you can find all of Pete John's links down in the description. And what have we got coming up this weekend from you, Pete?
So we're back to the 80s this weekend. So we'll be doing some 80s happy hour stuff. We've got Your Music Live. We've already got a big catalogue for our first big Your Music Live show of the year. And in GarageBand Weekly, we're returning to our roots, and we're going to be tackling some of the more basic yet interesting things. So I'm going to try and see whether I can actually make the GarageBand guitar sound good. So nothing like a challenge to start the year.
Awesome. I've got on the opening hour what I was going to do last week, Mr. Bungle, so I'm going to need to exercise to be able to pull that off because it's way hard. This week's rant is, what is a studio? We're going to talk about what is a studio, and because it's changed. Things have changed. Things change all the time, and we love that. And there'll be some more app demos come up over the next couple of days, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Let's get out of here. Thank you, Pete, as always, for spending time here on the channel. And love you lots. Love you, everybody in the audience. Hello.
We love you all.
The Lily Pillies, Happy New Year. And this is Repetition Radio by our good friend, dearly departed, Adam Burst and me. Happy New Year, 2025. Remember, do the things that make you happy. Mistakes make you better, and we'll all rise together. Stay awake, not woke. That's Oj.
Supposed to be a different thing. Was all the lyrics sound the same? One agenda, bullshit of thoughts. Everyone else thinks it's a bore. Villains found on parade, trying to fool us with the grand masquerade. Trying to play their grand charades, while they try to steal our fame.
thank you for viewing today, and thanks to our sponsor, DistroKid. Have a great day, everyone.